What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. Star Wars is back on the big screen in one form or another. we're gonna talk today about the Mandalorian and Grogu, the first film in 5 years. That was a piece of trivia I had. I don't know if I had the trivia or not. First film in 5 years after seemingly getting a new Star Wars film every 15 minutes or some shit like that. This is the first Star Wars film in 5 years, and it happened. We'll say that it happened. We'll go into our thoughts about it here shortly. Of course, joining me tonight is my head of life mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
I think it's actually been longer than that. I think the last theatrical one was Solo, and that was longer. That was more than 5 years ago. It's, I mean, like theatrically, I think Solo was actually the last movie that came out, and then there was this. There's, like you said, there's been a fucking new show and spin-off every 15 damn minutes since then. But yeah, I think if anybody's watched this show a couple times, my feelings about Star Wars have leaked into some of the other reviews, but I have held myself back a little bit. I've tried to, but that's going to be hard too on this one. So I'm sure we both have some thoughts on it. Yeah, let's talk about this. Whatever this
we will most certainly have some thoughts on it, and we are going to have a lot of the same kind of thoughts. And I think a lot of the people had. I don't think a lot of the critical reviews of this are too far off base. They're kind of brutally honest, but that's kind of what we want most sometimes. We all love Star Wars. We have to look at the things we love sometimes and be like, hey man, you kind of suck right now. You need to not suck. If you can pull that off. But let's get right down to it. Obviously, we're going to talk about Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. It is the 2026 American science fiction film directed by Jon Favreau, who co-wrote the film with Dave Filoni and Noah Kloor. It is part of the Star Wars franchise and is a continuation of the Disney Plus television series, The Mandalorian, which I don't even know if it's still going on or not. We'll talk about that in a minute. Pedro Pascal returns as Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, alongside Jeremy Allen White, Jonny Coyne, Martin Scorsese, who is in a voice role, and Sigourney Weaver. In the film, which is set following the fall of the Galactic Empire, Djarin and his apprentice Grogu are enlisted by the New Republic to rescue Rotta the Hutt, played by White, Jeremy Allen White, in exchange for information on a target. The Mandalorian and Grogu premiered May 14th, 2026 at TCL Chinese Theater in Los Angeles, was released in the United States in wide release on May 22nd. It's grossed so far $165 million worldwide against a reported budget of, get this, anywhere from 165 to 300 million. Okay. that's the budget number that I found.
Oh my God, I almost started sneezing. I'm allergic to the bullshit.
I know. God. And received mixed reviews, with critics praising the score and Pascal's performance while criticizing the plot, visuals, and action sequences. On Rotten Tomatoes, 62% of 232 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 5.9 out of 10. The website's consensus review reads, quote, bountiful in action, but threadbare in narrative thrust with its episodic structure. This Star Wars is more of a skirmish that coasts on the charm of its central dynamic duo. That's pretty fair. I can't pick too much of that apart, to be perfectly honest. Now, Jeremy, give me your quick thoughts before we get into all into the spoilery stuff.
I mean, yeah, if you're someone like Disney who can just straight up fucking lie about how much it took to make this movie, you can be like, yeah, we totally made our budget back in 1 weekend, guys. Fuck you. Stop being so negative. Okay. The fucking marketing for this was goddamn everywhere. I mean, that's part of it too. You have to take into account marketing and doing all this other jazz to put this out there. That's all part of, making your money back. And I know damn well you didn't just narrowly have about conveniently 160 million, and you're like, hey, look, we made 160 million worldwide in our first weekend. Like, okay, well, breaking even is still not being successful. I think you need to make about 5 fucking times more of that to still break even. But I mean, whatever, you got money for the next 20 lifetimes. You can say what you want about it. So I'm happy for you, Disney. I'm sorry. This is going to be a fucking heated one. I'm sorry. This one is not going to be not going to be monetized. I'll tell you that right now. But if you want fucking honest, for me, that's it. It definitely was like a story that happened, and I don't I see where people say that it did feel episodic. I mean, almost like this was a TV show or something. Weird, right? It felt like it was maybe 2, maybe 3, but I think more so like 2 episodes that were slapped together to make a movie. It definitely felt that way. There was some I don't know if it was just me, but there were some just like really awkward moments of the movie that I'm just like, what are we doing? And there was a point to where I did kind of fall off. I'm going to have my mouse hovering over the pitch meeting guy, because there's a lot of that was super easy, barely an inconvenience. I'm gonna wear that button out today, I'm telling you. Because there is a moment, and we'll talk about it, but there is a moment where I'm just like, wow, that was like super lucky, wasn't it? Which it kind of took me out of it, because if Star Wars feels like this grand universe, like it just didn't. It felt like we were in the same damn room for this movie. If you know what I mean. Like it felt like the universe was about this big. I'm like, okay, didn't do anything for me. I think this is the next thing for this. Can't say IP. That's Star Wars. For Mandalorian, I think they made seasons 1, 2, and 3 of the show, and then made this. I know there was other things like the strikes and all this other BS, and Disney being like, "Hey, we haven't made a movie in almost a decade. Should we maybe like do something about that?" And you got Favreau and Filoni kind of being like, yeah, totally, yeah, sure. What the fuck do we do? You know what I mean? So, there's a whole manner of things as to why this probably ended up the way it did, but I'm sure we'll get into it. But I don't know. I know it's not really negative, but I'm like, it was fun. There were some things I liked about it. It felt like a cool little side quest. It didn't do anything really for the characters or really the story of whatever this is supposed to be. Anyway, it felt like a side quest, to put in video game terms. It just kind of felt like hey, we're doing this, and then I don't know. Now what? They fly off into the galactic sunset to have an adventure another day. I don't know. That's my quick. That's my quick.
Okay, while Jeremy
get fucking heated.
While Jeremy takes a deep breath and drinks some water, and resets.
I need some blue milk, man.
I agree with Jeremy's passion. I agree with his point of view. Look, I mean, I'm going to try to be as kind to this as I possibly can. It's a good movie. At the end of the day, it's a good movie. I walked out of there thoroughly entertained. It was good stuff. I wasn't as Pedro Pascal out in this movie like I have been in a lot of movies that he's been in, mostly because you only see his face for 2 minutes the entire movie. But it was a good movie. But this movie is like Solo, which itself was a good movie. No. It had its issues. It ended up being a lot better than it should have been, but it was ultimately, while it was a decent effort, it didn't do any good for the larger franchise. And I'm not just talking about the Star Wars franchise as a whole. I don't want Mandalorian to carry the Star Wars franchise. I think that's what the episodic films should be doing. But it didn't really do anything for the Mandalorian either. Jeremy calls it a side quest. I think that's a pretty fair way of putting it. This was a 2-hour-long episode. And I was like, great. Yeah. Now what? I mean, what do you do with the character now? Because generally you make the movie when you're done. Like when a TV show transitions to a film, it's happened before that the film is the film is generally the end of the line.
Yeah.
But we have no idea if they're coming back for a season 4 of Mandalorian. We have no idea if he's if he's just going to be in movies now. We don't know. And this movie didn't do anything for the character's overall storyline, other than the fact, like Jeremy said, it was good. He went on an adventure, and we got to watch him. But past that, there wasn't really any substance to any of this. I mean, the writing wasn't great in spots. I mean, I'm not going to knock the action and the space battles. The Star Wars franchise as a whole has always done those very, very well. But
Oh yeah, ILM does their fucking thing.
yeah,
It's the sound design, the
yeah, ILM is they are the
notch.
top of the hill when it comes to anything space
Oh, yeah.
battle. They've been doing it since '77 with the original Star Wars. They've got their game down. They've got their stuff wired tight. But I mean, just story wise, there just wasn't much here. And I'll go into a little bit of it later on as we go into the plot. But yeah, ultimately, I liked the film. It was a fun couple hours, but it's satisfying. It's kind of like eating Chinese food. It's really great when you're eating it, but like an hour later, you're hungry again. And this is kind of the movie. This was the film version of that to me. And I hate to say it, but I mean this was handled very poorly. They could have done better. But let's get into the let's get into the discussions here. We've got Jon Favreau. I've got a picture of Favreau here somewhere. Is it? Yeah, Jon Favreau, obviously directing. He's directed a bunch of stuff that we've loved. The first couple Iron Man movies, so on. Very accomplished, both in front of him, behind the camera. What do you think about the job he did with this film?
See, you say this film because I would say, looking at him from just Mando, period. I mean, the first 2 seasons I thought were phenomenal. This original character, this this original IP, this storyline that was being played out following this Mandalorian, that we're like, who is this guy? What's his deal? I mean, we know he's a bounty hunter, right? And he's going on missions. He's getting he's getting paid in Beskar to, then he just buffs up his armor. You know what I mean? He gets payment to do these jobs, right? And then he comes across this little being, which is we now know as Grogu. And I thought, okay, this is interesting. And then he builds up this story. Like I said, the first 2 seasons, and you get to a point of seeing post Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker, and I was like, holy fuck. And I'm like, and this came from Jon Favreau. I was like, this guy, I'm like, you can tell this guy is a Star Wars fan. He's a Star Wars nerd, man. He made these, and I thought, this is really cool. This is this was the one thing of Disney Star Wars that I actually really enjoyed. Was like the first 2 seasons of Mando. 3, I don't really know what the hell happened in season 3. Then he hijacked Boba Fett's show because I don't know why that Mandalorian apparently couldn't sit on his own.
Yeah, I still don't understand that either.
He himself is like the OG, well, Django, but I mean semantics. He is the OG like Mandalorian. He is like the cool, like stoic. I mean, can't say stoic. He doesn't really speak. He speaks a couple lines. He's just like the couple lined badass that he bounty hunts and he just goes where the money is. And I'm like, God, that's really cool. And we explored that with this guy, with a brand new Mandalorian. I thought this is really cool. This lore that we can really tap into that you don't have a whole lot of, and I would say a whole lot less since Disney decided to give the expanded universe one of those. So, and then cherry pick it when it was convenient for them to do so. But that's neither here nor there. For this though, I feel like this. I think a good way to put it was it felt like when you make a movie to like retain rights to something, it's like, guys, this is your character. It's not like you're going to lose him. It felt like it had to be made. And I saw an interview with Favreau and Filoni that were like, yeah, Disney came to us and they were like, hey, we haven't made a movie in a minute. So, can we do something about that? And they were both like, oh shit. Sure. You have to start from the ground up a little bit because, there was a writer's strike that fucking went on, and he was like, yeah, we made some stuff. We wrote scripts, and it was like, if that was going to happen, we at least had stuff that we had already written, because after that point, we couldn't have, wrote anything because of the strike. And then they just kind of had to start from scratch. And I was like, yeah, so this thing feels like a self-contained, like I said, like a side quest. Like you could watch this out of context, and that's kind of just what it is. It's just out of context. You don't really need to. No, I mean, you can get into this and kind of have fun. Now, there is homework involved because I hate to have to say it. There is homework involved. There's 3 seasons of this show. There's a character from the Clone Wars that most people might figure out Rotta the Hutt. He's Jabba the Hutt's son. They only said it about 14 goddamn times in this movie. It's fine. And then you have Zeb, who's from Rebels, I believe. And they just never talk about that. I'm like, well, you don't have to, but it's kind of nice to know that he is a character that was from a different series. And I feel bad because I'm like, I loved this show and I can't remember the old man, the pilot, because he was in the Mando show as well as one of the New Republic pilots. That was kind of trying to, get some support going, right? He was in there for a hot second. So in terms of this, it just felt like it was made to just kind of have to have been made. And that's what really sucks. Star Wars should feel like an event. It should feel like a big thing, especially when it's your first outing again on the big screen. And you're closing in on like a decade, especially when you really need a good win. And again, with a character that I really think I said was really cool. And it was an original idea that I thought this could have been something really awesome. And I don't want Star Wars to feel like, when you walk out there, like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that was kind of fun for a little bit. I don't know. Star Wars shouldn't feel like that to me. That's my problem. I was trying to say, Favreau might have been kind of having his hands tied a little bit, but I don't know, man. I feel like something better could have been done. I don't work for Disney. I don't know. Just saying.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job directing this. I thought as far as directing what the story that was cut that they came up with, I was okay with it. Favreau, look, he's been around this for a while. I mean, he was one of the people that spearheaded the Mandalorian TV show at the very beginning. He's obviously he cut his chops in the golden era of the MCU in the first phase of the MCU, getting to, he got to learn a lot from guys like Joss Whedon when he was involved in the first Avengers movie in phase 1, and then eventually all the other people that came along. So having him around to shepherd this thing farther and farther down the line is okay with me. I thought he did a good job putting the movie together. My problem with this movie is not how the movie is put together. It's the foundation of which everything was built on. And I think he did a pretty good job doing it. I mean, look, the action, like I said, the action is obviously there, the space battles and stuff like that. Star Wars has always done the action stuff great. We still love the Mandalorian. He's still a character that we want to get behind. So he did a good job putting that together. He did a good job using, if not growing, and I'll get to that in a minute, the relationship between Mandalorian and Grogu. He did a good job bringing in some other story things, because one of the things I don't think that they're exploring enough in this show is post Empire, what the new order is doing, exactly how they're trying to get back to a decent life before the Empire and Palpatine came in and kind of screwed everything up. They're not really talking about that too much. I want to see, as strange as it sounds, I'm one of those people that likes to know how the sausage is made, if you're familiar with that old expression. So I kind of want to see something. I kind of want to see, what's the TV show that I could compare it to? I want to say maybe, the only one I can think of is maybe The West Wing. I want to see a West Wing style Star Wars show where it's less about the action adventure and Jedi, lopping people's hands and heads off with lightsabers. I want to see something that kind of plays that. I want to see a little bit of a political drama that happens in the Star Wars universe. And I don't know why they don't go down that road. Yeah, but Andor still got a lot of the action-y,
well, right, but it's not Jedi swinging lightsabers and
it's closer.
It was a little more grounded. Yeah,
Andor's a lot closer, but I do want to see something that's less action and more dense political stuff like that. As opposed,
I think that's what that show was trying.
I didn't watch all of Gattaca, but it's kind of not Gattaca, but what was that prequel series to Battlestar Galactica?
Oh,
the one that you know what I'm talking about, but something that where I only watched a few episodes of it. I got pulled away. I never really went back. Maybe I need to go back and watch that because I really liked both the original Battlestar Galactica in the 70s and the newer one that came out in the early 2000s. But something like that where it's like, yeah, you kind of already know what's going on. Luke Skywalker, whenever he did this thing, and I guess now we've got Maul has his own TV show, or is it animated? I think actually I haven't watched any of it.
It's an animated show.
Yeah, we got all this stuff out there, but I want to see kind of the like I said, I want to see how the sausage is made. Show me some of the political tension. Show me some people yelling back and forth in the parliament like we saw like in the prequels, because I thought those were interesting scenes that we had never really seen in the frame of Star Wars before. I wanted to see that, and that's where I think they should go with it all. But they're so concentrated on Mandalorian flying around with his jetpack and Baby Grogu hanging on his back like some friggin' like he was a Fortnite character or some shit like that. His back bling. Well, it's like he has a back bling Fortnite. I'm just like, come on! The visuals are great, but Star Wars has always been celebrated mostly for its great story, and it seems like since they decided to start really pushing out a lot of stuff, they're not concentrating on the story as much. I'm really disappointed that Favreau isn't one of the people stepping up and saying, "Hey, we need to tell a great story." We know we're going to do the space battles great. We know that the visuals are going to be awesome because, like you said, ILM's been doing this now for 50
ILM
years.
And Skywalker sound in your back pocket.
Yeah, they're doing this stuff with their eyes closed at this point. They're putting out brilliant stuff. But it's like, so let's concentrate on the story and really tell a great story. This didn't have much of a story. I mean, what did I read in the thing? Let's see, bountiful action but threadbare in narrative. Yeah, pretty much.
I felt like 2 episodes slapped together. It was like, okay, go figure out who this person is. Well, to do that, you got to go find this person, and you don't know who they look like. Well, hey, we'll help you out if you go help us out. It's like, oh my god, I've played a video game too. So, but here's Rotta the Hutt. Saved him. Cool. That's the end of the episode. I'm like, okay, but if this was a 2-episode arc, I'm like, well, yes, now you have this other bounty hunter because, of course, the Hutts would do that to you. They're gangsters. They would send someone else after him, after Mando, for saying, "Oh, well, you screwed us over, man." And they bring him in, and now he's got to fight through that, and his remnants of like, well, I'm just here to get paid. I mean, even Rotta the Hutt kind of looked at him like, man, how do you sleep at night? Like, how do you live with yourself? I'm like, he's like, I mean, you're gonna have to have that as a bounty hunter. It's like, dude, I just get paid. I don't give a fuck, dude. I get paid for the job. Okay?
That's the Mandalorian that we've all known from the very beginning, not just Din Djarin, but just the Mandalorian way of doing things is you give me money, I go get what you want, and then I get paid and I get paid and I leave. And that's the whole relationship. He's not overthinking it like that. He's
like, I do the job, I get paid, man, and what you do after that that's not my problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the less I know, the better.
Yeah, and I like that. I mean, it's like he does kind of have a little bit of that, I mean, obviously with Grogu, it's like he kind of has a little bit of a soft side because he's obviously been taking care of this child now since he found him. I still feel like it's awkward. I know it's a money machine. At least at that point it was. But I felt like after season 2, when you handed him off to Luke Skywalker, I was like, holy crap, that's intense.
Yeah.
You're gonna give him to this guy who's like renowned across the galaxy as a I can talk forever. Go ahead. He's gonna go off with this
my crown on.
Oh god. Oh, you're not gonna wear it for the whole show?
I am. I'm 100% gonna wear this whole show right here, just like this. I totally forgot about it. I actually grabbed 2 of them because I know Jennifer wanted a Baby Grogu crown. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, she doesn't want one. So I was like, yeah, give me 2 of those. I'll wear one when I do the stream.
Okay, but his whole plan was to keep him out of the hands of, well, I guess like the remnants of the Empire, people who were trying to experiment on him, because I mean, even in universe, they know how important he is. I mean, to us as fans, we're like, we've only ever seen Yoda and Yaddle. We don't even know anything about this species. Like,
we don't even know what they're called.
No, we don't know what they're called. We don't know where they come from. We kind of have an idea of their lifespan because of Yoda. He lived to be 900 years old. Like, but we don't know anything about it. And I know that's what George wanted. He's like, no, I don't want to explain it. And I'm like, I'm fine with that. It's cool. It cements, I mean, Yoda himself as like, he's one of the coolest things about Star Wars, like of many other things. Yeah, as a figure himself. I mean, you say Yoda, even as someone who doesn't really know Star Wars, you know exactly who Yoda is. You know what I mean? You know that. So I thought it was interesting that you had this baby version of him, who obviously is Force sensitive, and I mean he's 50 apparently, but I mean as we know, he ages very, very slowly. His longevity is pretty vast. And handing him off to Luke Skywalker at probably that's like peak, Luke Skywalker. That's my favorite version of Luke. The all black with the green saber, the hood, Jedi Master Luke. It was always my favorite. Handing him off to him and having that emotion.
That scene,
Dude, no,
too.
that
He rolls
hallway
in there and
scene.
starts wrecking shop. God, that's great Star Wars right there.
Oh my God, that's what I mean. Like, that's what that should feel like. God damn, that got like little 10-year-old me inside 30-year-old me freaked the fuck out when I saw that. Because I'm like, it is. I mean, people have compared. I'm like, yes, it's like father, like son. It's fucking cool. We've seen Vader wreck shop in the end of Rogue One, but we're like, man, Luke walking into her hood, covering his face, just wrecking those fucking Dark Troopers. I was like, okay, yes, that's what I want. And then, like I said, Din Djarin handing off Grogu to him to just. We assume, like, is he going to go train? Like, is it going to, I mean, we know it's not going to be it. But we're going to see that in some other show because, again, you have to do homework. But them having that emotional, like, goodbye, having to hand him off to him and be like, yeah, well, Luke's like, well, I'll take care of him now. I'll, train him to be a Jedi. And then it's like, then you just kind of undid all that because it makes money and because everybody just, every goddamn normie freaks the fuck out because Baby Yoda's cute. I'm like, okay, but that's only gonna carry you so far. And that's what I'm saying about this is I'm like, okay, but is that all he can do? Yes, it's cute when he's covered in snow and he sneezes and it just flies off his. Okay, it is, but how much more are we gonna drag this out? I mean, like, I would freak out a little bit if he at least started to like kind of talk. I don't know if he does something more than he's just green, he's little and he's cute, and he eats a lot. I don't know. Good for him. And his little blue macaroons that he's always snacking on. So same with Mando. We also kind of know in this, and it kind of gave it an inevitable end. That, like, I mean, he's human, right? He's only gonna live for so long, and Grogu's gonna outlive him. So I'm like, well, sure. This character you could take to the ends of the damn galaxy, but like, yeah, there's eventually gonna be a point to where it stops. So I kind of thought that was nice that it stopped at a certain point, but then it's like, yeah, but we're making money, so we have to somehow awkwardly put them back together. But in this show, which now you have to watch this, and now he came over to that show for some reason. In a show about Boba Fett, he's not in it for an entire episode because we had to make something about Din Djarin. I'm like, okay. Danny Trejo wrote a Rancor. That was pretty tight.
That was pretty
good. That was sick. I'm like, come on, I want to see more Danny Trejo training Rancors. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's really cool. But nothing really kind of happened here. Nothing got like pushed along. There was no real stakes. Nothing that, like I said, seeing Luke Skywalker come in and wreck a bunch of Dark Troopers, I'm like, that got me excited. And then the prospect of, okay, now he's going to go off with him. Now what? With this, I was like, okay, I guess the Hutt twins died. That's kind of important, I suppose, because power vacuum, and now Rotta the Hutt is now working with the New Republic? Question mark? Really, I was like, the only things of consequence that I noticed was that. And the fact that, okay, and I heard Frank's in the back of my head, because I was like, you need to explain to me how the fuck he has a Razor Crest again. And I'm going to start now, and I'm going to wear this goddamn button out. Sigourney Weaver just comes in here and goes like, oh yeah, we just found one. We happen to, here you go, and here it is.
It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
We found a used spaceship shop around the block that had one, so we went and bought it for you and retrofitted it and rebuilt it. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, somehow it's exactly the same one because we need to keep selling toys. But hey, we got one for you again. I'm like, okay. It is a little goofy when it is literally just hey, we just happen to have one. I'm like, sure you did. All right, man. Yes, the Millennium Falcon is a certain type of ship that there are other Corellian freighters that look just like it or other configurations of it. It's not the Falcon, but I'm like, yes, there are other ones just like it. Not to downplay the Falcon, I'm just saying there are other ones, sure, but fuck me. You see that rifle he has, that badass rifle he carried for like a season or so. He just happened to go up to a gun rack and found the exact same gun again. I'm like, oh my god, screw you! You didn't even explain that. He just picked it up and happened to have it. And I was like, okay, all right.
I'm pretty sure they did. I'm pretty sure they did this just because they knew we were going to review it and you were going to have a cow about the whole thing, which I totally understand.
Am I wrong? I know. Am I wrong for being a passionate Star Wars fan? For being like,
well, there's
I don't know. For being attacked as much as I have been, I've heard that. I mean, the person I quoted a different YouTuber down here. I'll plug him now. He's not even. never asked me for this, but I came across this guy. I abbreviated his name because it wasn't going to fit. He's the real life fake wizard. That's his whole shtick. It's just a dude in like a obvious fake beard and wizard hat, and he's wearing a t-shirt and glasses. It's funny, but he does say some points that I'm like, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. And he said there's 3 types of fans. Like there's the I almost said the shills, but it's essentially what it is. Like the mega fans who blindly they always go to Star Wars stuff. They go to Disney every fucking goddamn year. They always consume everything that comes out, and it's always the best thing that they've ever seen. Great. And then you have the big block of the normal people that's who you kind of want to usher in. Someone who maybe doesn't know Star Wars, or someone who can go watch us and still enjoy it and not have to do homework, because you do.
Yeah, but there's so few.
But then there's people like me who I'm like, I've been holding on to this shit since I was a kid. I always loved Star Wars. Seriously. And then this Disney thing happened, and now it's like I'm apparently wrong for not liking something that you put out because it didn't make any fucking sense. And you're like, well, fuck you, you're wrong and you're a racist. I didn't ask. What? Why? I never said that. That word came out of your mouth. It's not me. I don't know. When you burn your fucking audience and then you're surprised that no one goes to see your movie, I don't know how to tell you, I have to tell you like you're 5.
Well, the problem with trying to satisfy the younger group of fans who are like, the 13, 14, 15-year-olds is they didn't just come in to the franchise with The Mandalorian. If you are a Star Wars fan, you've seen the original trilogy, you've seen the prequel trilogy, you've seen the new sequel trilogy, you've seen all this stuff. You've seen Ahsoka, you've seen Skeleton Crew. You're not just getting your first introduction to Star Wars with The Mandalorian or some of the shit that's been on TV. You are probably well-versed in at least the episodic films. So when you see something like Mandalorian and Grogu, there's something in the back of your mind that's like, this doesn't really fit. It's good, but it doesn't really fit. And I think that's kind of the problem with this thing. It's like, you're not, this isn't the first Star Wars connection in a lot of, well, maybe if you're like 7 or 8, and you're one of those kids who's still into baby Yoda and stuff like that, maybe. But a lot of real hardcore Star Wars fans, even really young ones, they've seen all the movies, they've seen other TV shows. That a lot of them, maybe I know some teenage kids that have read some of the expanded universe books, so they know what is out there. They know how big this universe is to just be like, oh, here's another 2 hours of Baby Yoda and Mandalorian flying around looking for somebody. Okay, and it's like whatever. But shout out to the chat real quick. I'm way behind on doing that. Hey, BJ, you brighten up the room every time you're here. Thank you for being here. Casey announcing himself as always. What's up, Casey? Go check out his gaming stuff. And then Tex making it the obligatory. He's contractually obligated to say the following. There are only 6 Star Wars movies. That is all. No, there's 9. There's 9. There's only 6 that are really probably any good, but maybe 7. But yeah, that's about it. And then of course,
I can say there's 9, but the other 3 aren't the fucking sequels. There were other movies that were in the lexicon of Star Wars that I can still say I enjoyed. I enjoyed Rogue One.
Rogue One's really good.
Rogue One's good. I enjoyed Solo. You can fight me on that. I don't fucking care. I don't mouth.
Solo was fun.
And Nerdrotic say.
Like, Solo was fun. People. Solo was fun. It was way better than it should have been. But it still wasn't anything important.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to compare Solo to this in the fact that I'm like, I don't need this. I'm not mad that I watched it. I was enjoying the ride that we took with it. I'm like, I don't need to really see a younger Han, Lando, which to be fair, Donald Glover as a young Lando, that is a spinoff I would have loved to have seen. That would have been fun.
Oh yeah,
I think he kills it as a young Lando. I mean, shit. If you would have made a movie with him and you could have had like a cameo for no reason other than to have Billy D there as him, as current Lando, older, maybe telling a story or some shit, and then you see an adventure of a young Lando. Like that would have been cool. I enjoyed that movie. I need a third one. What other actual? Yeah, I guess what other movie actually came out other than Rogue One and Solo? Then there was this. Like that isn't a sequel. Ah, fuck it. There's 6 and then 7, 8. I don't have a 9. Sorry, but and it's not to say that, like you said, I have seen them. I gave them all a chance. I'm not just shunning Disney out. Like I said, I tried to give it a chance. I'm of the age I watched that shit happen. I watched Lucas sell that shit to Disney, and then I was like cautiously optimistic. I was like, okay, you know what? I can throw Force Awakens in there. You know what? I'll be a baller and I'll throw that in there. I didn't mind that movie. Now I had issues with 8 and 9 because what the hell were we doing? I don't think they knew. So I don't know. I gave it a chance. I tried to make sense of it, and then I just couldn't. I don't know how much more I could have like tried to justify it to myself. I don't know. And then you as well as me, we don't just watch. We're not typically like normies. We don't just watch the movies and be like, that was fun, and then see what comes out next week and whatever. We get into some of the behind the scenes stuff, get into the weeds of like, the writers, directors, producers, stuff that's going on in the company, like reasons why XYZ was made, and for this reason, it's shit like that. I try not to let that bring a movie down, but it's like it's hard to ignore it when it's like, hey, so you remember how you didn't like that show? Well, now you're a bigot. I'm like, okay, well, all right, that's the hill you want to fucking climb up. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's been a lot of really great shows that haven't gotten ratings. There's been a lot of really great shows that got great ratings that got canceled. Who the hell knows how they justify canceling shows anymore?
Do you know that I didn't realize that I had to stare at this because I like realized that 2025 was actually last year. I was talking to my wife about the Snow White movie, and I'm like, it's funny. It is still fucking funny to me. I'm sure right now, live, all of us, we can go right now. I messed up which page it was. It's not Rotten Tomatoes. It's IMDb. Go to IMDb and look at the rating for Snow White. And then there's a little fucking tag at the bottom that says like, oh, this may be wrong because there's unusual voting activity on this site. I'm like, that movie came out well over a year ago. It was March of 2025. And they still have that on there. I'm like, guys, it was bad. Let it go. You can't just keep using that as an excuse. What do you say for the other stuff that was rated lower than that? Shit, that live action Dragon Ball Z movie that was god awful is barely, but is rated higher than the Snow White movie. Even the Avatar movie that was made by M. Night Shyamalan, Ding Dong, that I fucking hate, is rated higher than that movie, and that is saying something. You can't just be like, oh, well, I don't know, it's just review bombing. Whatever, cope however you want, but you got to let it go at some point.
Okay, yeah, I know. I'm letting you go, bro. I'm letting you go. You mentioned a Lando spinoff. It actually says here. I've got the Star Wars like franchise page pulled up on Wikipedia, so I take it with a grain of salt. Lando in December 2020, a spinoff series to Solo, a Star Wars dream, was announced as being in development. The miniseries, which is being developed exclusively for Disney Plus, was revealed to be centered around Lando Calrissian, titled Lando. Donald Glover was confirmed at the time to be reprising the lead role, while Justin Simien was named as the series creator and showrunner. By July 2020, however, Donald and Stephen Glover were hired to replace Simien. Write and develop the show. In September 2023, the show was repurposed to be released as a theatrical film instead. So maybe we still get that, but
well,
as far as all of these,
they announced about 30 other projects, and about 2 of them actually.
Yeah, there's a whole list right here of other announced projects that are in some. I mean, the Rian Johnson trilogy that never happened. Taika Waititi's film that he wanted to do. Also, Rogue Squadron, which never. I was actually kind of excited for Rogue Squadron when I heard Patty Jenkins was doing it. I was like, okay, let's see what she can do. But I do want to get to a question in here real quick. I have not watched Maul yet. I don't know if you watched any of it, Jeremy, but Angel Star is asking, do you think that Keanu Reeves would play a great Darth Raven? And if you watched Maul Shadow Lord, do you think that the pink Twi'lek Devon will become Darth Talon? I have not watched any of Maul yet. I haven't had time, so I don't know. First off, Keanu Reeves can kind of do whatever he wants at this point. I just don't want him to play a Star Wars version of John Wick. Because that's one of the things that really brought down that Matrix, whatever the hell, the newer one that came out.
Resurrection or
he
whatever
was,
the fuck.
whatever the hell it was. He was basically just
Yeah.
playing John Wick as Neo, and it seems like it's like even that last Bill and Ted movie came out. I was kind of like he's a little too broody like John Wick. He's not like goofy Southern California
He's
guy
not
from
goofy
San Diego.
90s Keanu.
Yeah, where
No way.
he was just John Wick without the scruff. I was waiting for him to like pull a gun out and just start whacking people because I was like, at least that would have fit for his look. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, and you know, full disclosure, I have not watched a lot of the animated Star Wars stuff. I've watched things here and there. It was just was never my bag. Why I'm trying to catch up on as much as I can as fast as I can is because they decided that all of it was canon, at least the newer stuff anyway. So I'm trying to get caught up on some of it, but we're getting there. Angel also says, I've heard that Abeloth might be coming to Ahsoka season 2, and Natalie Portman might be returning as Padme, and Abeloth will take Padme's form to deceive Anakin. That's interesting.
I was gonna say you can bring her back to kind of like be like Force visions to like you know that would make sense. Yes,
yeah,
that would be cool. I don't know if yeah, I haven't seen all of the Clone Wars. I will admit, I watched the movie when it first came out, which a lot of people forget it was a movie first. It was a movie, and then the series, and I know the series is good. I haven't watched the new Maul yet. Like I said, I unfortunately very cautiously like aware of like my time when I'm going to put into something like Star Wars now, which I really never thought I'd say in my life, which sucks. I know it's Darth Maul. We love Darth Maul. I don't doubt that it's good. I've heard that it is good. So look, even that, like Tex said, Maul was good. Talent, yeah. See, I know it's always been a thing. Like, what if John Wick? See, I even fucking said it right there. What if Keanu Reeves? they're the same. I know they're one and the same. God damn it. What if Keanu Reeves was Darth Revan? It could work. Again, what I worry about is I'm like, God, that is a cool story, a cool character. Disney is going to fuck that up. And I'm going to say it with my whole chest. I don't know if it was true because something else that I really thought would have been cool to see, you know, pre-Disney acquiring Lucasfilm, was a Mara Jade story. Mara Jade Skywalker, who is Luke Skywalker's wife, and you can go into the whole them having kids. I don't know if it's true, but I kept seeing a thing that like, they're like, oh yeah, they just keep Lucas people keep blocking us from doing a Mara Jade story. I'm like, good, fucking good. I hope they keep them doors locked, closed, bolted, welded shut. Do not ruin this cool fucking character because I think she is counted as Legends now because it was done before. You know, it was in the EU and now it's I almost want to throw up every time I say Legend. It pisses me off. And I'm mad because they even have a pop figure of her, and I'm like, finally they have a pop figure. But they had to ruin it by putting in parentheses, in case you fucking forgot, to just turn the knife more. It says Mara Jade Legends. I'm like, all right, fuck you. I see, now that just ruined it for me. And this is what I'm doing. You're doing that to people who otherwise I would have bought it. But I'm like, but you still have to throw that little middle finger to me. That remember how we canceled that and said it wasn't canon? Like, yeah, I do, and I don't want you to. I would want them to bring that down because I'm like I've seen what you, and at this point, after well over 10 years, I've seen what you have to offer. So you have one cool thing with Mando and Grogu, and like I said, I thought it kind of ended after season 2. So I don't know. I don't even remember what the fucking question was anymore. I'm lost in this fucking Star Wars rant that I'm just.
Let's go ahead and move on to what would be the second official topic. Now that we've turned the first topic into a 45-minute rant, let's go ahead and talk about the cast of the film. Obviously, you know, Mandalorian, obviously Pedro Pascal, but there were some other people in the movie as well. Obviously, a big addition was Sigourney Weaver. What do you think of the cast of the film? Who stood out to you the most?
As much as it's gonna be funny, I was like, I don't know if they plan on using Sigourney Weaver more because she wasn't really in this film much, to be honest. I was a little surprised 'cause I feel like someone with her gravitas, like I said, not like she needs the money. Obviously, she's well made her fame and fortune, and you see who she is. You know exactly who Sigourney Weaver is.
Oh, she's a Hall of Famer.
For sure. So I'm like, it's cool that you're in this lexicon. Like I said, like with Danny Trejo, I'm glad you're in Star Wars universe now as a Rancor trainer. That's badass. I want to see more of that too. Like, I don't know. I kind of felt like she almost kind of seemed just like bored, if that makes sense. It was like, yeah, I'm here and here's my paycheck, and she's gonna go home.
Well, she's got a certain way. She's got a way of delivering dialogue though that is direct and controlled. I think most of her career, even if you go back to like Alien, the first Alien movie, there's a way that she speaks that is very deliberate. And I think that's one of the things.
Yeah, when she's the only one who's like making sense of the situation, she's got to put her foot in everyone's ass. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I felt like maybe she should have had a little more gravitas that I know she carries with her name of being she's Sigourney Weaver. I don't know. I'm not mad that she was in the movie. That's a cool addition. I'm not upset by that. Like, look, I know Pedro showed up for what 2 days, and hey, we gotta have a scene with your mask off, and then we're gonna go back to the stunt guy, and you just keep recording in the booth. I'm not mad about that. When you think about it, they did that with Darth Vader, so let's not get our panties in a twist. It was David Prowse who played the body of Vader, but obviously we know James Earl Jones was the voice. So I mean, who do you really? You know what I mean? Now, that would have been funnier than shit if they took that helmet off and it was James Earl Jones. I would have laughed. That would have been kind of awesome, to be fair. Even that guy was Sebastian Shaw. It was a different guy for that. So go figure. I mean, how many people played Vader? How many people did it take to bring that character to life? So whatever. We know it's a stunt guy doing stuff, and then obviously Pedro puts his lines over top, and then every once an obligatory like episode he's got to take it off and be. I didn't want to make fun of him because I'm like, when he's in the pit fighting the dragon snake, I was like, you can tell he doing this, and like the guy with the helmet is like doing backflips and like kung fu and bullshit. I'm like, yeah, you can tell. Whatever. I mean, get your star recognition in there. And now I'm being nitpicky. I liked Rotta the Hutt. My only thing that was jarring to me, and I'm just being with Rotta the Hutt or Rotta the Hutt. Jesus Christ, man, that guy's ripped. Although I do believe that's true strength. I mean, he's a slog. He's got to move on his arms, and he's actually in a gladiator fight. So that's ain't no juice making them guns. So I'll just say that. No space steroids for him. It's a little jarring seeing a Hutt speak like just common language, just common English. I was like, I'm used to you guys speaking your own language, and everyone just kind of goes with that. That was just really fucking weird. It just threw me out of the movie a little bit because I'm like not used to that. But that's just nitpicky. I liked his character. I like that he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna be like my dad. I'm like, okay, we've seen that story before, so he's something you can do more story with later, I suppose. I don't know. Oh God, Embo, is that his name? The guy with the bounty hunter. God damn,
yeah, I don't think I have a good picture of him though. I was kind of
another homework fucking question. He's from Clone Wars, I believe. If I can spell it right, hold on.
Yeah, he was in. What's he from? I know he was in the Mandalorian TV show. Fuck, what was he? Drawing a blank. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of him real quick.
Well, it wasn't Cad Bane. Your boy Timothy, or not Timothy Oliphant. He got laid out by him, but then Boba Fett took care of him. Embo, yeah, Clone Wars. Okay. Yeah, recognized by his large frisbee-like metal hat because I've never seen Mortal Kombat before, ever. Man, he threw that thing, and I was like, all right, fucking...
There's one of them on IMDb.
He's not in it much. I mean, whatever. He was kind of cool. I like that. I actually did like the little guy on his little I was expecting him to be plucking a space banjo, sitting on his little fucking swamp chair in the on his porch. The guy that helped Grogu out. That was kind of awesome. So yeah, I don't know if anybody really stood out. I mean, this is now supposedly season 4 of this series, so I don't know.
Well, they say it's not. They say this was something that was created specifically for a movie. I don't buy it because I've seen a TV show. I know how TV shows are structured, and that's not how this is going to go. Look, I like Jeremy Allen White. I'm a big fan of his. I'm a big fan of The Bear. I love that series, mostly because I grew up in restaurants, so maybe I relate to it a little bit. But he was great. I know they had to mess with his voice a lot. I've seen a lot of interviews where they've had to defend it. I'm okay with it because, like I said, he's a good actor, and you have to be able to put some ass in the dialogue in order to make it hit right, whether you're speaking in Huttese or whether you're speaking in English. I really don't care about the English stuff, to be perfectly honest.
I'm being nitpicky. It just kind of it threw me off a little bit.
Obviously, Din Djarin, Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal. This is one of the roles that has made him Pedro Pascal. He's fantastic in the role for the 3.5 seconds he's actually on screen.
Right.
Here's my big disappointment. As much as I love Sigourney Weaver and everything she's done, going back to Alien and Ghostbusters and so many other things, this is how I know that this was probably much better off in episodic form on a television show over the course of 8 or 10 episodes. You could have used her so much to be that. I said earlier I wanted to see a little bit of the political intrigue. I wanted to see a little bit of that happening, along with some space battles, because Star Wars has always done that pretty well, especially in the original trilogy. And they did it actually in the prequel trilogy. I know a lot of people kind of shit on it a little bit, but I was like, that's one of the things they did well, was they brought the politics into it a lot more, because that's what was happening before the Empire rises and crushes the, whatever the Republic was before that and all that. There was a lot of political stuff happening. So they did a very good job of incorporating that. She could have been the vehicle to incorporate some of that political stuff that I wanted to see and just wasn't. I feel like if you'd have done this in anywhere from 6 to 10 episodes, that you could have had her out there more being that, just being Sigourney Weaver, the great Hall of Fame actress that she is, and not like, oh, by the way, here's another famous person that we pulled into the Star Wars universe. We did Danny Trejo, we did so on, this person, that person. Okay, we had Timothy Oliphant back there a couple of years ago in a couple episodes. Okay, now we've got this other really famous person, Sigourney Weaver, Hall of Famer. We're going to get her in there and just let her have a couple of lines. She's going to have some rich conversation with Din Djarin, and that's going to be how she earns her paycheck for this movie. And I'm just like, you know what? You've got someone like that. Just use them. I said the same thing about Linda Hamilton in Stranger Things. That they didn't quite use her as. I don't think they used her the way they should have. I mean, when she's on screen, she's fabulous. But and I love the fact that for the first half of Stranger Things, I didn't know if she was a good guy or a bad guy. I was waiting for something to happen and turn her one way or the other. She ends up being kind of the bad guy, but it's like her the way they finish her character was kind of unsatisfying. And it's kind of a little bit of the same thing here. Just you've got Sigourney Weaver, and she's so wildly underused. It's like I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying she has to carry the movie instead of Pedro Pascal. Obviously, this is Din Djarin's movie. He's got to carry the movie. Him and Grogu are the central figures, but it's like you've got someone like that. Use her. I mean, she's got a great amount of dialogue kind of early in the movie, and she shows up as kind of the hero in the fighter in the X-wing at the end, which is really cool. But it's like in between there's so much opportunity for her to play the game from a different angle while Din Djarin is on this planet doing whatever. She's over here trying to spin the gears this way so that it all works out for him and for the New Republic, and just not there. And I feel like that if you'd have done this in episodic form instead of squashing it all into a movie, that you could have had bits of that, and maybe even an entire episode that focuses primarily on her, trying to make sure that things are happening over here to help things happen the way that she wants to do for Din Djarin, and just not. I just don't understand how you get someone like that and you don't make them an important figure. Maybe not an important figure, somebody who's on screen more. At least. I mean, you don't have Sigourney Weaver and not put her on screen. The scenes that she's in are good, but you got to use her, man. You got to use them.
Do we? I mean, there were other examples in the original trilogy. But someone kind of brought up a good point about the ending, as badass as that was. I'm like, but did the New Republic just straight up commit a war crime? I feel like they did.
Kinda.
You kind of came in there, just carpet bombed that motherfucker like it was Space Nom. I was like, you kind of may have. Now, obviously, I mean, like you and I, we've had the clerks arguments of, were there contractors on the Death Star? There's some innocent people in that motherfucker, weren't there? You could say, obviously, the rebels aren't really the good guys, and they're really not. Neither are the Jedi when you think about it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, Whoopi, the big bad Empire. We know Darth Vader's a bad guy, right? I'm not saying the Empire was great, but it's like, that is kind of the general rule of this galaxy right now. That's who has control over this shit. And I'm like, you guys aren't really the good guys. I know I'm cheering for you, and it is a hell of a moment of cinema when Luke blows up the Death Star, and then when Lando does it in the second movie. I'm like, yeah, but that might kind of be a galactic war crime.
Well, what was was it The Last Jedi where they had that stupid whole sequence in the casino? One of the great scenes in that movie was when they get the gun runner, the warmonger, and they're looking through all these files, like how they're getting the X-Wings, and they're looking through the TIE fighters and stuff. And then you look through and it's like, you also realize that the rebels are buying X-Wings and all their shit from them too. And he's just like, hey, everybody in war is doing this. So don't think that because your side is war profiteering. You sell guns to both sides. That's how you become a war profiteer. Yeah, I dropped my crown. So that's how. I mean that's how war works. Everybody is trying to buy the weapon that's going to help, enough weapons or the weapon that's going to help them win the war. Both sides do it. So he says, don't think that your side is innocent. That's one of the great things about the Andor TV series is it shows that gritty underbelly of the rebellion. You think they're all just the good guys. Well, the good guys do bad things to win every now and again. So, I mean, we all like to think that our side is on the side of right. America is the good guys, but it's not like American soldiers haven't done some shitty things over the course of a couple dozen wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And speaking of like seedy underbelly, I would have loved to see more of that that planet, that little. It looked like, because they had an idea, or George had an idea for, like, we've seen Coruscant, we've seen from the sky, right? Like the upper, if you know how Coruscant works, like the upper levels of stuff, like where the important stuff is, like the Galactic Senate, the Jedi Temple, stuff like that. That's on the surface, and then you get down to even the ground level, so to speak, and then the layers as it goes down, it gets seedier and seedier, and it gets worse, right? It gets really just like. You get like crime syndicates, you get like gangsters doing shit, people doing illegal stuff, right? And I'm like, I feel like that as literally and figuratively as a grounded thing that where he talked to Martin Scorsese for like 5 minutes, he got his paycheck and fucked off. Whatever. Whatever. That I was like, that's cool, because I'd love to see a little bit more of that. Like we've seen the grand space battles, like you said, they do this stuff well. They do space battles and lightsabers and guns that literally do go pew pew. But I'm like, man, but this like traveling around trying to like almost Batman your way through this like seedy underbelly of whatever that planet was. I'm like, I would have loved to have seen that. That would be something I'd love to get into the weeds of. But I don't know. Alas, it was not to be.
Let's move on to the plot now. Boy, we need to move this along. I usually about an hour and a half is where I want to be. We're barely halfway through all this stuff. Let's talk about. I let you go because I agree with you. You're so on. We're kind of on the same page with this.
Look,
but let's
talk. 30 years of being a Star Wars fan that is coming out of me. That's what it is. Like,
yeah, I get you. But let's talk about the plot now. We've already kind of bitched about it here and there over the course of the stream. But let's talk about the plot. Did any of it really work for you? And what would you have changed? I would say, is there anything you would have changed? Is usually my question. I know there's stuff we would have. Talk about the plot, Jay. What do you think?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked. I brought my note cards, and I'm going to adjust my glasses and stand on my fucking box and tell you. It did feel like 2 episodes slapped together, because there was a definite part that felt like, oh, it ended. Like, he got Rotta the Hutt, he got his money, and then they went back to their little cottage home that lives on the outskirts of whatever it sucks when I can't even remember like the name of the town or even the planet they're on anymore, because I'm like, I could tell you every single one from any of the other movies. but I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know any of these. Wherever that place that, where Carl Weathers used to be. Obviously he's no longer with us, so I'm.
I forget the name of it. What was the name of the town?
Oh, I have no idea in the show. I don't know what it is.
Give me a second.
But they have their little house out there, and I'm like, yeah. Then they take a break and they leave. I'm like, right, that feels like an end of an episode. And then to kick off another episode, it'd be like, oh, now Mando and Grogu get dropped in on by a different bounty hunter. I'm like, oh shit, that's exciting. I think the first bit of this, up until the point where right when he captures Rotta the Hutt, and he's taking him back in the Razor Crest 2.0 to sell toys, whatever. And he's like, well, yeah, I need to give you to your aunt and uncle so that I can find out where this Imperial is that I'm after. And then he goes, oh, yeah, wait, remember the guy that had my contract? Yeah, it was him. And I was like...
it was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
And that took me right out of it. I was like, okay, you made the universe about this fucking big. I was like, really?
Navarro is the name of the town. Navarro is the name of the town.
Okay, Navarro. That's right. So that took me out of it, where I'm like, really? It was just the same guy I know it's a movie, but I'm like, you could have then stepping stone that into something really cool. It could have been someone else who's like, like on a Moff Gideon type level, to go back to a different part of the Mando show. Someone like that, that he's after. Because it felt like, oh, this twat who runs a gladiator fight, that was him. The guy from... I'm pretty sure that wasn't the guy who played the butler in not Ready or Not. Would You Rather? Pretty sure that was him.
I don't know.
I remember faces. I'm pretty sure that was him. The guy who played the butler. He played that part well, but I was like, I feel like he needs to be like the underboss to like someone, who is the Imperial that he's after, because that should feel like a pretty important figure. All these Imperials that he's after that probably seem a little more high ranked and kind of, trying to keep low, but they're all trying to scramble to rebuild the Empire. I mean, even though we know that's not really going to happen, you kind of get the First Order, but that's part of what it morphs into. So up until that point, I was kind of on board with this. I'm like, this is kind of fun. I like this. I like this story. And then it was, oh yeah, well, conveniently, it was the guy you just went to, talk to. I'm like, was it really? That feels a little lame, but okay. That was fine. Episode 2 of this movie, where now you got to deal with the Hutts, because it kind of makes sense. 2 episode arc of dealing with them. There was somewhere I was going with that. My mind was trying to go to 3 different tracks. I'm sorry. I just watched all those trains derail out of my head. It was all right. The back half, like I said, I know it's now we get to see, the helmet comes off. I kind of liked it was nice that Grogu and then Rotta the Hutt were like buddies. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. That Rotta the Hutt did actually seem like he wanted to be a good guy. He's like, I don't want to be like my father, so because that's all people remember me for or know me as I'm just Jabba's son, right? He's trying to be something better, because I like that arc of him saying like, yeah, well, I came here and I was booed, and then when I started winning fights, then they respected me, they cheered for me. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. All right, I'm on board with that. I'm trying to remember what else even happened in fucking part 2. I guess we kind of got a little bit of Return of the Jedi. Like he went into the not Rancor pit and fought the dragon snake. To be fair, the dragon snake did look kind of cool. That was cool. And then I don't really care to know what their damn species name is, but the Babu Fricks, and then Grogu had to come save him. Whatever. We all watched fucking murder space teddy bears kill the Empire off in Return of the Jedi. So you can accept this. Trust me, I wasn't as mad about this as I thought I was. I was like, whatever. We've seen the cute things save the day before, so And of course, one of them being Grogu, like the other half of your namesake of this movie. So whatever, he has his own little adventure with that.
I have a feeling that was really all set up just so that we could get to the point where they rescue him and they walk out to the ship and he looks at it. He's like, I'm not getting on that damn thing. He's like, I'm not going to fit on there.
Yeah, I was kind of like,
I feel like the whole reason they came out was to set up that gag. And I was like, really? Okay, whatever. We'll
yeah, I was kind of wondering, like, I don't know what he thought they came there in, because he's kind of like, I'm not fitting in that ship, guys. Like, it manufactured tension. Now, I thought that was interesting that he got poisoned by that dragon snake. And see, now I'm like, there were some stakes there where I'm like, oh shit, this is like the current where we are at. We don't know this original character. Is he gonna die? Is he gonna what's gonna happen? I thought, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, that'd be ballsy as shit if he died. Because I'm like, that's emotional. He said, like, hey, I'll be right behind you. I'm like, I still don't know how you're gonna do that, but he told Grogu to go, and then he was gonna go off and he was gonna single-handedly fight these gangsters off that were coming after him in the woods as he was dying. I thought, oh damn. All right, thanks, Dr. Nick.
Shout out, Dr. Nick.
Appreciate
Go watch Alex the Garbage Man on Thursday. Link in the description. You can check them out.
If you just want to hear me rant, just skip over the first like 45 minutes. I just can't go off.
Yeah.
Skip to this timestamp.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to segment this into chapters. I don't usually do that for the videos. But
Jeremy rants for about 5 minutes. Yeah, I thought, damn, that's heavy, because I thought, man, because like I said, we don't know, are they gonna make another season? Because that'd be really weird. Hey, have season, movie season. I don't know. Like you said, this
don't get too far to that,
because
that's gonna be a topic here in a minute that we talk about. So
yeah, because I mean, I'll end it with, yes, this should be like, this feels like an end point. If there was going to be the last hurrah, I mean, I feel like it should have been more of a hurrah. But I'm just saying, this is current where we're at with these characters, and I thought, damn, is he gonna die? Because that'd be insane. I mean, and I'm not mad that Grogu saved him. I was like, yeah, now he's had that moment that Din Djarin's protected him all this time, and now he's taken his turn to actually save his life. With the guy with the rocking chair, that the space redneck, I don't know what the fuck, whatever he's supposed to be, who ended up being cool. When Embo comes in, though, I was like, I don't know if like the theater was like the sound was weird, because I'm like, why did he come in there and they just kind of stared at each other? I'm like, is anyone gonna talk? Why are we? Like, that's the awkward moments where I'm like, why is no one talking? Why are we just sitting here? Why are are they talking? Because I don't hear them, and I'm like, they're just staring at each other. Then of course we see Grogu hiding from the little space dog that he has. Yeah, tense moment there, and then he finally says like, "Hey, get away from my fish." I'm like, oh, that worked. Okay, that was it.
Shout out though, the guy who voiced that little swamp crocodile guy on the rocking chair was Stephen McKinley Henderson, one of the great character actors. He was the heavyset black guy that gets shot and killed in Civil War, the reporter. One of the great character actors. He had a good run. He had a couple episodes of like The Newsroom, one of my favorite TV shows. He was very good in that. Very good character actor.
Yeah. And then he saves Mando, which is cool. It was a little. I know it's supposed to be kind of tense. Like, you know, Grogu wakes up and all of a sudden, the little hut that he put him in, he's just gone. And he just kind of, again, it didn't feel like there was no music. He just kind of stood up and was like, "Oh, hey." I'm like, I feel like that should have been a little bit more. Dude, you're alive! Oh my god, you know what I mean? The force healing thing always kind of pisses me off, because I know you're telling me Qui-Gon got fucking in the gut, and that was okay. And now, oh yeah, hey man, by the way, the video game thing, force healing is the thing. I'm like, okay, but when you throw that wrench into the fucking lore, I'm like, I have questions about some people who either should be dead or should not be dead, but okay. I mean, sure, maybe Obi-Wan as a Padawan couldn't have figured that out. I get it. Qui-Gon, though, you're telling me Qui-Gon, who was as important as he was, couldn't have figured whatever. Fuck, he figured out immortality. He won in the end. He gets to be a cool Force ghost and teach all these other pleb Jedis like Yoda that, you know, how to figure that out. So Liam Neeson for the win. He's got a particular set of Jedi skills, I guess you could say. But yeah, I think the thing I would
a particular set of Jedi skills.
Yeah, make me a nightmare for Sith like you. I would have changed the I would have upped the Imperial that he was looking for to be somebody a little bit more important. I kind of forgot like Admiral Thrawn is still a thing. Like that's a pretty serious bad guy, but like you don't need to make it that kind of level. I mean, you need to take it to like an underboss kind of thing, like where somebody who is a pretty high value target, which feels like that's what Mando is supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be taking out these higher Imperial targets because they're trying to keep that from happening again. So
yeah, I that didn't occur to me until just now when you were saying it. Like the whole deck of cards thing, like Americans had for all the Middle Eastern guys in the Gulf War. It's like, why would Thrawn not be the ace of spades? Why would it be the schmuck who was relatively easy to capture? If they know that Thrawn is out there still, and again, timeline. Yeah, this is about the time Thrawn is active because this is all happening at the same time as Ahsoka, and Ahsoka has had Thrawn in it. So it's like they're out there, or at least they haven't been captured. You know that they're not for sure dead. Why would you not have Thrawn on the deck of cards? Because I've seen a couple of videos where they try to focus into those deck of cards, and the pictures on the cards are just people from the production team that they put on there.
Yeah, well,
the names don't really ring a bell for anybody with canon or lore. So it's like, why wouldn't you have someone like Thrawn on there if you don't know for sure that he's dead? Why wouldn't you have somebody else on there? Because there's probably 3 or 4 other people that were probably fairly important in at least the original trilogy that you could have put on there at least just for the sake of having that connective tissue, and you don't have it, which is really weird.
Yeah, he should be at the top of the Charlie Day post. He's up there with every string of yarn going towards him. That should be your guy, really, that you want to go after. Alas, that's not what we're doing. I would have changed that a little bit, because it just seems really convenient that that's who he was after. And I was like, yeah, now we have to awkwardly backpedal and turn around and go get him again. I don't know. That just seems weird. Yeah. That's about all I think I'd really change. And like I said, there weren't any real big stakes, nothing that had ended on like, what's next? What's the big reveal? There was no after credits. It was just like I said, while I appreciate an open and closed story, I was like, it's not really what this is, though. I mean, what is the next adventure? Because
Star Wars has never done the post-credit thing anyway. Yeah, Star Wars has never done the post-credit thing anyway. Let Disney do that shit in Marvel. The other stuff that they control, I don't want that to be a part of it.
But I guess what is the setup is what I'm saying. My takeaway was that the twins died, so I'm like, well, there's a power vacuum there a little bit. I guess that's for Tamura Morrison and Boba Fett to never have a show about, because they're never going to do that again, because they took the throne. I'm like, well, we're never going to talk about that again, probably. But now Rotta the Hutt works for the New Republic with Zeb. I was like, are they having their own Hobbs and Shaw spinoff? I don't fucking know. Are they going to do? He has a uniform that apparently conveniently fits him, so sure.
Well, I'll give you these quick thoughts on the plot. Number one, I would have made it a movie plot.
Yeah, that was it for me.
TV plot. I would have made it a movie plot instead of a really long TV plot. There's not really a plot twist that happens in movies somewhere. I mean, unless you want to call the twins working against trying to play the New Republic the plot twist. They don't give it any attention at all, other than at the end of the movie when she says, "Oh yeah, it turns out the twins were working against us," and then but at that point the movie's already over. So that's not really a plot.
We know
twist.
how the Hutts work. That's not a surprise to anybody.
Hey, I would not have done a lot of these things. It's a really long TV show, but let's get into now. You've already alluded to it a little bit, Jeremy. What's next for the Mandalorian? I mean, there's nothing listed on here for a season 4. They say that they wrote season 4 and that this film is not season 4 condensed into a movie. So if we're believing what they say, there is story elements out there for season 4 that can be built out into an 8 or 10 episode series again for a season. I mean, Pedro Pascal isn't getting any less busy. I mean, now he's in the MCU. He's got everything else he's doing. I think he's probably going to be in the next season of Last of Us in flashback form. He probably won't be in there as much as he has been in the first season, but he will certainly do some filming for that. I'm pretty sure. But I mean, what do you think happens? Are we done seeing the Mandalorian, or are they actually going to try to put him back on the TV screens?
See, like I said, that feels awkward, because then it's like I said, you have 3 seasons of a TV show. And like I said, he even hijacked an episode of a different fucking show.
Yeah.
And Yeah, right. And then you had a movie, and now we're like, oh, now we're gonna go back to a show. I'm like, I don't understand what the point was. Now, I someone else that I've watched. If anyone's ever watched Star Wars Theory, he's one of like the biggest Star Wars YouTubers. I agree with him that like Star Wars does lend itself to being on a big screen. Like it is a cinematic event, and it should be. TV shows are great, but it's like I don't know. You don't get the same effect, the same feel. You want to feel that ILM and that Skywalker sound in your fucking bones? Yeah, go watch it in the theater. That should be the fun experience. It would just feel really weird that now it's been volleyballed back and forth between these mediums, I guess, streaming and then a theatrical film. I don't know, because I was like, if this, it doesn't feel like it's an ending, so I don't really know what the point was. There was nothing, like I said, there was nothing that like connected this to, because I was like, well, we know where it's at if you've watched it. I'm like, there's no Darksaber, there's no Bo-Katan, there's nothing that you left off with in season 3. None of that. This was just like, hey, we're gonna go to this for a minute, and then no, we're gonna come back. I don't know. It feels like a weird sidestep. I don't really know why it was done this way. And like you said, I've heard Favreau say that they had to. This was not what they really had in mind. Like this was just kind of something they brought out, and they had other stuff written for season 4. So if there's more story that they're planning on telling, okay, I'm not really sure what that means or what it's going to be, but you got to come back around again and be like, well, so here's what we set up, so now we got to continue this in a way that makes sense. So I don't know. It would feel weird to go back to a show after just now seeing a movie that you can keep. I'm going to go back to it. You're going to keep lying about the numbers. I'm like, guys, I don't think it was as successful as you think it is. I don't know how many mattresses. That's a big fucking mattress you're hiding your money in, Disney, but I don't know where you think you're just going to skirt past this and be like, okay, that didn't really work.
Well, they got money. They can absorb the loss. But
I know, but like how many losses they can absorb?
My concern is creatively. There's so much that was a big part of the show, and I haven't watched season 3 in a while, so forgive me if I'm getting a few of these details wrong. He still has the Darksaber, right?
He does not. Bo-Katan has it.
Okay. Now, I'm wondering why Bo-Katan wasn't in this, because that was one of my questions. I was like, does he still have the Darksaber? No Bo-Katan in this movie. She's still out there, along with her merry band of less obsessive Mandalorians. So it's like that's still out there. Boba Fett is still out there. Ahsoka is still out there. We're getting a season 2 of Ahsoka, from what I know, from what I've heard. When we get it, I have no idea. But like you, Jay, it's like usually when you go from TV show to movie, that's the end. And maybe that's a whole other video. Is TV shows that ended on movies or that went into movies or whatever. That could be a whole other video. But like usually that's the way it goes. Is when you get a TV show and you decide to make a movie out of it, that's where it all ends.
That's your final episode, yeah.
And if this was the ending, I have problems because for one,
that doesn't feel like an ending. Yeah.
I feel like the proper ending for a Mandalorian warrior for Din Djarin is that he dies in battle somewhere, and then the kid, Baby Yoda,
that's
Grogu,
what I thought they were gonna do. He died trying to get out there and saving. Yeah,
and that he ends up kind of carrying on. That he has learned. He has been the Padawan. Then he officially becomes a Mandalorian warrior or whatever. I think that's the logical sense, but it's like this does absolutely nothing to push that narrative forward. What the hell are we even doing with this? Is one of my big problems with this movie. And granted, and you said it earlier, Grogu does not mature at the same rate as a humanoid. But does that mean that he's not going to grow and mature at all over the course of this series?
That's what I mean. He really hasn't.
Because it's fun. It's amusing and entertaining to see him fumble his way into helping the Mandalorian do shit. But like the most useful thing he does this entire movie is Mandalorian rolls up there and Grogu climbs up that little fucking downspout into a little slim little window that opens the door from the inside. That's the only thing he does that he seems to do on purpose. Everything else seems to be stuff that he stumbles upon by accident. And I don't understand why they're not showing some growth for Grogu. I mean, he's Now, they wait till the very end of the movie before Din Djarin finally says, okay, come up here, we'll start teaching you how to fly. And then that's where the movie ends. And I'm like, that should be the kind of shit that's happening over the course of a movie. You need to be growing this kid instead of just putting him on your back and then going and doing what Din Djarin does. You need to be teaching him. It's like he's got his little bit of armor, which is really cool. He does kind of take it upon himself.
With that when he was with the other Mandalorians, they kind of started that, but
he does kind of take it upon himself when he rolls up in there and helps him escape the crazy pale water snake. Yeah. But he kind of does when he goes and rescues him from that. But for the most part, even that, he has this little Rambo moment where he's putting like the little bombs and stuff in his pack. And he's putting
strapping up.
He's tightening up his, and he's tying the red bandana around his head. He's like, I'm your worst nightmare. But other than that,
the fucking M60 just blasting everybody.
But other than that, everything he does is kind of by accident. He's that goofy little guy who stumbles across the right thing to do that helps. And that's cute and funny now, but it's like there's got to be some growth at some point. They didn't do anything to grow his character at all. What's he going to become?
3 seasons in a movie.
I mean, because and the way that Din Djarin himself explains it, he's like he matures at a different level. He's going to be here long after I'm gone. So when is he going to mature? Because Din Djarin would have to look at this and say to himself, well, I'm going to die. He's going to barely be middle age, assuming I keep hearing people say he's like that Baby Yoda Grogu is like 50 years old now.
He's about
assuming that Din Djarin lives another, let's say 70 years. That would put him well into 100 and something range when he finally goes, assuming that he doesn't die before then in battle. It's like, are we still? Is Grogu always just going to be that little kid who's slowly learning things? It's like, why did you bother taking him under your wing at all if you know he's always going to be that little guy who just like he's your back bling? He is just he's the kid who stumbles into doing the right thing. He's never really going to be a Mandalorian warrior, so I don't really get what the point. I mean, he's got to grow at some point.
Okay, see, I'm glad you got this. Like, I thought this was interesting because I'm like, that is some like Empire Strikes Back, like Jedi meditation that I'm like, okay, that is interesting to me. Now, if we expand on this, I was like, is he trying to like, I mean, yes, I guess in his species, he is still kind of like a child, essentially. He's 50 to our years, right? But he's still a child. And without really any sort of formal training, he was in the Jedi Temple back in episode 3, right? So he was there and he was probably learning, but that was, oh God, how long ago was that?
Was he at the Jedi Temple?
He was. There was a scene that he got saved by a Jedi Master called Kelleran Beck.
Oh,
okay. Who was played by the guy Ahmed Best who played Jar Jar. I'm like, now see that is just for the fan in me that I'm like, oh my God, we did this man right. Because my God, yes, Jar Jar's annoying. I fucking hate Jar Jar, but him, the actor, did not deserve that. And to be...
Oh, yeah, he didn't at all, no.
He didn't deserve that. And I'm like, I don't want to... I mean, we're on YouTube. I'm not going to say certain things, but I'm like, man, he was on a deep fucking end that we may never have seen him again. I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he stuck around and had that badass moment of being the Jedi Master that saves Grogu when Order 66 went down. Like, he opens that door, I saw him, and I was like, oh my God, yes. He's like, I got you, kid. Turns around, pulls out his lightsaber, and just wrecks these fucking clone troopers. I'm like, yes, good. And he flies them out of there. I'm like, all right, sweet. That's cool. But I'm thinking, shit, at that point, I mean, there's what, 18 years between 3 and 4? Because Luke's like a teenager. So, and then you got about 3-ish years between that and Empire. It was 3 years between Empire and Jedi. Was it like a year or two between that and like 4 and 5? Shit. And this is a few years even after Return of the Jedi. So you're talking a good 20-ish years. So I'm like, how old was Grogu? Was he like 10? Like, damn.
I don't know. All I'm saying is he's got to at least find some growth at some point in this. If he's always just gonna be a little kid, then his whole.
That's what I thought Luke Skywalker was supposed to fucking do.
His whole thing is kind of pointless if all he's gonna be is Din Djarin's back bling. He's got to become the hero at some point. That's the whole purpose. Is Din Djarin is going to train him in the ways of the Mandalorian. He's going to use his Jedi powers and the Mandalorian way of doing things to be a whatever he's going to be.
Which
to be
is
a positive influence on the universe.
Had a war.
Yeah,
the Jedi and the Mandalorians fought a fucking war against each other. So for him to be the middle ground of both of those ideologies, that would be cool to see.
But how are we ever going to get to that when, theoretically speaking, the way they've described it all is it's going to be 200 years before he even gets to the point where he is that kind of mature. To say nothing about being fully mature. To say nothing about being fully mature the way that Yoda was. Because when we first find Yoda, he apparently is somewhere in the range of 900 years old. So I mean, we got to wait another 850 years for Grogu to become that. I mean, I don't know what the end game is for Grogu's character in the lifespan of Din Djarin, unless they're just going to say, "Oh yeah, Din Djarin, that bite that he got from the dragon snake, it's going to make him live longer. He's mutated.
It was super easy, barely an inconvenience."
That's what they're going to do.
And I was going to say there are things in this universe like the life support things like General Grievous, like Darth Vader. There are enhancements. There are things you can do to keep yourself alive. So, not that I want to see a Darth Vader-esque Din Djarin, but like you could.
Yeah, but for 850 years, though, I mean, do they even have like hypersleep and stuff like they do in some other sci-fi things? I don't know. All I know is we got to figure that out. But one more quick topic before we get into the trivia stuff. Where does Star Wars go from here? Because, and I'll give you a chance to use this shot because it's beautiful.
That is a cool shot.
Where does Star Wars go from here? I mean, I'm seeing all these announced projects, and a lot of them are. Well, I'm thinking probably 75 to 80% of them just aren't going to happen. I don't know where they go from here. I mean, we've got new leadership now in Lucasfilm with Dave Filoni and the other person being involved, and obviously Jon Favreau is going to be a big part of that. While not the director of Lucasfilm, he's going to be a big part of that because he's tight with Filoni. Yeah. But I mean, what do you think, Jay? Where do we go from here? Not just Mandalorian, but Star Wars as a whole, because it's going through a bit of a let's just say identity crisis right now. What it wants to be.
Yeah, I guess that's better to say. Man, that's a big fucking question. Like I said, there's a lot of things that my gripes are with other things outside of this movie. Like I said, I would middle of the road this movie. I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. I'm just kind of indifferent to it. There were parts that were fun. I enjoyed it. I don't know what it helped do with the broader story of them and the broader story of Star Wars itself, which is the question posed. Where does Star Wars go? I don't know if they plan on still making. See, of the like 300 things that got announced, one of them that I was like, are they going to bring back Daisy Ridley to do a thing with Rey? Because I'm like, well, you could try to rebuild the Jedi Order for, I don't know what, like the third time now. You could maybe delve into that. I don't know if I'd want them to. At this point, I don't know if they want to. I like that the creatives have kind of it's shifted now to like it's Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, who, like I said, they're cool with each other. So you kind of have more of the guys that I know Star Wars pretty well. Like, love it or hate it, man. He made the Clone Wars. Dave Filoni, and Favreau gave us Mando in their own rights, things that were very well received. I don't know if they want to expand, like I said, on stuff they did with the sequels, or if there's more with Mando and Grogu, because that seems to be kind of the pillar that they're standing on right now. They're Captain Morganing it, really. They're not like they're half. They got their leg up on it, maybe, so to speak. So I don't know. I'm not really sure. I hope it goes in a direction that makes more sense. But man, to quote Ron Burgundy, the market's really saturated right now.
Yeah.
In terms of Star Wars. So
yeah, I'll give you a very unpopular opinion.
Uh-oh.
The part A, you got to pull back. Nick at Lost River Drive-In had even put some stuff up on Twix about this a week or two ago. Like the whole market is, like you said, it's saturated. There's too much. And I thought that a long time ago, because it's one thing when, they came out with the newer trilogy and, whatever you think of it. Then they were like, okay, we're going to go ahead and make some TV shows now. And I was like, okay, great. Mandalorian comes out, made the first couple seasons. I even liked the third season by and large. There was a couple episodes in there that were just kind of craptastic. But, overall it was good.
Uh-huh.
But then all of a sudden it's like Solo, Andor, blah, 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 12 TV shows, 6 more spin-off movies. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
one of the things that kept Star Wars awesome is the fact that we didn't get very much of it. There was a supply and demand of it all. Because I remember when, growing up, I had the original trilogy. I had episodes, 4, 5, and 6. And for years, I thought that was going to be the only Star Wars that ever really existed outside of some of the books of the expanded universe stuff. And then they come out with, okay, now he wants to make the prequel trilogy.
And then I came along with 1, 2,
and
3.
I was like,
that was not.
And I was like, great, more Star Wars. That's what made those things so well loved. They helped them make a lot of money. Debate what you want about how you think of those films. The reason they did well is because we thought we would never get more Star Wars in the big screen. And then we get those, and then some years go by. Lucasfilm gets sold to Disney, and Disney's like, we're going to make 3 more films. And we're like, okay, well, let's see how this goes. Because, at that point, there was some divisiveness over the prequel trilogy. Was it good? Was it bad? Whatever people might think of it. We're going to say, okay, well, they're going to put some money behind it. Kathleen Kennedy was made head of Lucasfilm. A lot of people were happy because she had been around Lucas and all those guys for a while. So a lot of people were like, okay, let's see how this goes. And then think what you will about the sequel trilogy, the newer ones. And then all of a sudden it was like all this stuff. It's like, wait a minute. We went from feeling like every time we were going to get something Star Wars that we thought we would never, ever get something like that again, to all of a sudden every other day there's that episode of a Star Wars thing dropping. And I'm like, wait a minute. You just took the supply and demand and made it really unbalanced. The whole point is that you trickle these things out
of balance again.
Yeah, the force is out of balance. And this is exactly what happened with Marvel. Marvel started to get spread really, really thin. And once they started to take creative control back from the pencil pushing dickheads at the offices in Disney, that's when they were like, take everything off the calendar. We're slowing everything down. We're making sure this is exactly what we want it to be creatively. Things have looked better for Marvel. That's very badly what Star Wars needs to do. They need to, if they want to do another season of Mandalorian, great. I'm okay with that because by and large, the series has been good. As much as we've been kind of bitching about this movie the last, hour and a half, this movie was entertaining at least, if nothing else. It didn't do anything for the story. So you've got Pedro locked in. You've got these other characters around her, Ahsoka and Bo-Katan and stuff that you can help feed into the story. That's great. But, other than a couple of things like Skeleton Crew was kind of a bit of a surprise. They called it Goonies in Space, which is kind of exactly what it was. I thought it was a fun show. I don't think it does it. They didn't think it did much for the Star Wars lore as a whole, for the overall franchise, but it was a lot of fun. But by and large, a lot of the stuff was kind of falling flat. The one thing that we thought was going to be awesome was Obi-Wan. And
I was just thinking, I'm like, I forgot about Obi-Wan.
And I was like, God, that did not do great. Creatively, it wasn't great. Seeing Ewan McGregor out there in the robe again was great, but it's like, but for the most part,
Hayden and Ewan together again.
Yes, that
was sweet. That made like little 12-year-old me happy seeing them back on screen again.
You've been swinging and missing a lot of pitches here, man. Maybe you need to slow down and make sure that creatively everything is fitting in just right. Because you can't just say that, okay, everything that came before Lucasfilm was bought by Disney is now Legends, and we're starting all over again. Only stuff that we do is canon. But you still got to make good shit, and you're not making good shit.
That's what
for every 3 or 4, for every 4 or 5 things you're doing, you're making one good thing. And sometimes that one good thing is an absolute fucking surprise, like Rogue One or Andor. It's not a constant, everything's good. We slipped here a little bit. Maybe creatively this didn't work out, but there's a home run, hit. Maybe this thing didn't do so well, but then hit. You're not doing that. You're hitting a lot of weak ground balls, to use the baseball parlance, man. You gotta hit one on the screws. You gotta drive one somewhere, and you're not driving the ball very well right now. You're not hitting things very well. Slow down. Stop putting all this shit out. I mean, here's what I'm looking at right now. Other announced project. This is on Wikipedia for what it's worth. Untitled Rian Johnson trilogy. We all know how that ended up. Untitled David Benoff and D.B. Weiss trilogy. In February, it was announced that these two were going to serve as writers and producers on a new trilogy of movies. Plot would take place chronologically before the prequel trilogy and center around the origin of the Jedi. The pair cast doubt on returning to their planned trilogy, commenting on its apparent influence on James Mangold's similarly premised Dawn of the Jedi movie, which is probably never going to happen. Actually, I'm pretty sure they announced it.
I would love to see some Old Republic stuff. I really would.
I think, honestly, if you're going to continue on Star Wars, you need to do one of two directions. Continue the Skywalker saga with the older Rey. I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but I think that's where you got to go. Or go back to the beginning and show us the origin of the Jedi. I think those are the two places you have to go. That's just me. Untitled Taika Waititi film, which apparently is still kind of in the works. In May of 2020, Waititi signed on to the project. It was supposed to be the first priority for the studio, with the filmmaker serving as director from a script he co-wrote with Christy Wilson Cairns. In 2022, the movie was named the next Star Wars film to begin production ahead of Rogue Squadron, which itself never got made, with Kennedy saying that the studio was tentatively looking towards late 2023 for a debut. What year are we in now? 2026? Anyway, 26. It had not yet officially been set by a release date by April 2023, saying the project is still in development, with Waititi working on the script. In April 2025, it was announced that Tony McNamara was hired to contribute to the script. That was a year ago. No news. Rogue Squadron. It was the one that really disappoints me because I was really looking forward to this. Standalone film following the events of Rogue One, directed by Patty Jenkins, script written by Matthew Robinson. In April 2023, Kennedy said the script is still in development, with the studio considering changing the project to a television series. Fine, whatever. In March 2024, Jenkins announced that she had once again commenced working on the script, confirming that development for the project is ongoing. No news since then. Untitled DJ Dillard film, February 2020, film was announced being development by J.D. Dillard and writer Matt Owens, although Dillard announced that he was no longer to direct that film in November of 2022. Dillard did things like Slight, Sweetheart, and Devotion. Devotion's a good movie. But apparently that's not going to happen. Star Wars: A Droid Story. In December 2020, animated film centered around the adventures of R2-D2 and C-3PO was announced as being in development. The story would include a new heroic
Skywalker trilogy.
I don't know. The story would introduce a new heroic character to the franchise alongside the two returning droids. My problem with that is you shouldn't have that unless Luke is there with him, because they are kind of tag team with Luke, but whatever. The project would be a joint venture production between Lucasfilm Animation and ILM. The film is being developed to debut via streaming exclusively through Disney Plus. No news on that in God knows how long. We talked about Lando already, so that could still potentially be a thing. Untitled Simon Kinberg trilogy. In November 2024, Simon Kinberg was hired to write and produce a new trilogy of Star Wars movies. The series of movies was reported to be episodes 10, 11, and 12, though this has been disputed by other sources. That's all the news on that. Who the hell knows if that's actually happening or not? So a whole lot of talk, a whole lot of we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, and all we've gotten is Mandalorian and Grogu.
Mm-hmm. And apparently, a movie with Ryan Gosling, apparently a Starfighter, or whatever.
That's actually coming out. They're actually in post production on that.
Yeah, that's actually so. That's it. That's what we got. Did anyone tally up how many times Frank said trilogy? Because I'm like, okay, but you plan on making this many trilogies within Star Wars? Because holy God, do you want to do this for the next 50 years? Do we want to watch Grogu grow up in real time? Because my God, that's what you're gonna do. Oh my God, I'm not opposed to more Star Wars, but for fuck's sake, like Frank said, slow down a little bit, man. Slow your roll. It doesn't have the hype if you, like you said, it's every other week there's a new Star Wars thing. Because you kind of just like, yeah, okay. Well, I can miss that one. That doesn't make sense. I got to do homework for this one, so does it matter? You know.
Yeah, for upcoming
boys is so great because that hype was real. Damn it.
Yeah, for upcoming films, it says Star Wars Starfighter. The release date is going to be May 28th of 2027. Directed by Sean Levy, screenplay by Jonathan Trooper, produced by Kathleen Kennedy. Sean Levy. That's in post production, so that's going to come out one way or the other. Untitled new Jedi Order film in pre-production. That's all it says. Untitled Dawn of the Jedi film, supposedly by James Mangold, is in development. And an untitled New Republic film, directed and written by Dave Filoni. is in development. Those are still apparently upcoming.
The only thing that's really set in stone is the one with Ryan Gosling. So I'm like, right, but so you said May of next year. So I'm like, you're telling me between now and next year, that's what we're going to get? Because I highly doubt you're going to crank out another season of this show in between then, or something in between then. So what are we doing? I'm really confused. We slowed down so damn hard. We hit the brakes that now I'm going through the damn windshield, flying through space like Space Mary Poppins like Leia did, where I'm like, I'm trying to find my way back. Woo.
Yeah, I invite you all to just go to the Star Wars Wikipedia page and get some of this information. It's Wikipedia, I know, say what you will, but there's a fictional timeline, which I'm just like, where the hell do you even fit all this shit in? The fictional timeline.
There is a big timeline of Star Wars, but my God.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man, is you gotta... I really feel like episodically the best thing to do right now is either continue on with the Skywalker saga, an older Rey, the same way that we saw an older Luke Skywalker in the newer trilogy. She has maybe started teaching some more Jedi, and things are going well for the Jedi, and then maybe something happens. That's the tipping point.
I would hesitate to call her a Skywalker, and also I don't think you're going to get Mark Hamill back, so you're definitely not going to have him. So
okay, you don't want Mark Hamill back. He's dead.
No.
Look, you don't. Okay, no more Mark Hamill. No more Mark Hamill. No more. You can't have Carrie Fisher. Unfortunately, she's passed away. No more Harrison Ford. Those three are done.
Like I said, he can still be a Force Jedi, a ghost to Rey. But you're not going to have him back. Still, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe
you know what?
I don't know. I'm kind of.
You know what I would think would have been fucking cool. We got a hint of it in one of the movies, and again, I don't even remember which one it was. Get the fuck off my screen, Tex. We had a snippet of when Leia, a younger-ish Leia, when she was training with Luke to be a Jedi. That would be a fucking movie I'd watch. Now, yes, Carrie Fisher is no longer with us. Her daughter was in all three of those damn movies, and she even played a younger version of her mom in Rogue One to be the younger Princess Leia. I'm just saying, put Billy Lord in there, put Carrie Fisher's daughter as a young Leia training as a Jedi. That I would watch the shit out of. Mark Hamill, whatever. I keep saying, recast Sebastian Stan as a young Luke Skywalker, damn it. He's not getting any younger, but he can still play the part. You could have that happen. But what do I know?
The problem is if you want to move past where the last couple of movies, the 8 and 9, which weren't that good of movies anyway. If you want to move past those, you gotta get past. Look, I love Daisy Ridley in the role. I know people shit on her. I thought she was great as Rey. I like the character a lot. My problems with the last two movies is they weren't very well conceived. There was no plan going into them. They were just kind of throwing shit against the wall to see what stuck. But I love the character moving forward. An older version of her, I think, is probably the best way to go. If you're not going to go back to the very beginning, step one, show me how the Jedi Order even came to be. But
when the Sith ruled the galaxy, when there were thousands of Sith everywhere, that'd be a cool story to fucking look at.
But
before all the Jedi came in,
I think the film should always be driven by the Skywalker lineage. I just think that fits. I think that's right. That feels right. And even if it is, look, Rey is not biologically a Skywalker. I get it. I think that's one of the things they were setting up at the end of the last movie when they're like, Rey what? She goes, Rey is Skywalker because she doesn't want to be a Palpatine. She wants to be a Skywalker. Fine. The name can be the lineage. I don't really care. But, I mean, just... You got to move on to her growing the Jedi, and then something happens. There's a threat somewhere.
Well, remember, they didn't actually show Mara Jade. You could, and they did have kids. There's your Skywalkers, but whatever.
Whatever. Who cares? But that's the best way for me to go. But let's go and get a trivia done because, boy, we spent a lot of time bitching about this movie that we claim to actually not hate
I'm
so much.
sorry.
No, I expected it. Tech says this is going to remake 4, 5, and 6 of black trans people and think they're brilliant, brave people. Make her chick, make her gay.
Actually, you know what, Tex? If you do want that, they did make that Lego what if series of Star Wars where Darth Jar Jar was a thing. Go watch that. Get out of my face. It's there.
Or go watch The Acolyte. That's kind of what they did with The Acolyte. I didn't even watch past the third episode. I just it wasn't really entertaining. I didn't really care about gay characters or all that. I just didn't think it was all entertaining.
I didn't watch that because they completely undermined the point of Anakin's character. They're like, hey, this kid is basically Space Jesus and he got conceived by the Force. That's fucking nuts. And they're like, yeah, but hear me out. What if it was actually these stupid ass twins first? I'm like, all right, well then I guess screw Anakin Skywalker then, right? Don't undermine a character who is that central and important to the story by being like, but these two did it like 100 years ago. I'm like, yeah, no, they didn't. No, they did not.
But here's the twins, in case you were wondering, who for some reason were sleeping next to each other in a weird kind of
like cat dog situation. I don't know what the
cat dog 69 situation. I don't know. But let's see. This is the first Star Wars live action movie that actually has cast and crew credits at the beginning of the film. I didn't even realize this until I first saw it. There's a specific way that movies open, and even The Mandalorian is kind of, the TV show has kind of done it like that, but all the movies, they always open with this like really cool space shot and no credits, just right into the movie. And yeah, this is the first one that actually had opening credits.
True.
Makes sense. I mean, you got to do something different, I guess. A lot of people were wondering when they started doing, I think it was when, was it Solo or Rogue One? I think Rogue One came out first. They were wondering if Rogue One was going to have the same opening as other Star Wars movies.
Crawl.
Are you going to have the crawl? Is it going to just like be space and then cut down to like a planet and a starship coming in, like that iconic shot? But I think if you want to get credibility with like the hardcore Star Wars fans, you need to have an opening like that, because at least visually it's going to pull you in the way that the original movies did. That's my guess. Let's see. By her own admission, Sigourney Weaver joined the cast of this film because she really wanted to act on screen with Grogu himself.
Okay, fair.
Who wouldn't though? I mean, come on. Some actors really get into the idea of doing green screen or mocap or crazy shit that we don't see. We know that's how they make the movie, but we don't see it. And some actors really want to experience that. Whatever. I mean, never really wanted to be an actor, so I don't really have those feelings, but whatever. Let's see. God, I don't have a picture of them. I really wish I did. But the large robots the Mandalorian fights were stop motion animation created by Phil Tippett, who also created the stop motion effects for the original Star Wars trilogy. A bit of important visual connective tissue right there.
I think I heard that they were, and that's actually really cool. I appreciate the time you put into that.
And that was a cool scene too. They did have kind of like the steampunk kind of look to them, which I thought was kind of cool. Like advanced, but not like super space future advanced, since this does happen in a galaxy long ago, far, far away. But let's see. This is, of course, the first show, the first theatrically released movie to be directly tied in with any of the Disney Plus Star Wars shows. Interesting. Like, we talked about it. It's like, how do you make that transition from TV show to movie? What does it mean? Can you go back? That might be a topic for a whole other video, but that's interesting if they're going to do it like that. Let's see. Jeremy Allen White, again, love him as Redo Fett, whatever the hell his name was. He was never directly present on the set. He had recorded Rotta's lines before filming began, which were played back for the actors on set.
I mean, yeah, that's sometimes how that happens. I mean,
he still put in more work than Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. I mean, it's like in that episode of Big Bang Theory where they're like, yeah, Carrie Fisher and James Earl Jones never actually met each other, really. Like, while they were doing Star Wars, he's like, yeah, I was in a booth filming, recording my lines for Vader, and obviously Leia was on set, and there Carrie Fisher was, and they got to actually meet face to face for at least an episode of Big Bang Theory. Apparently, she ran up to him and gave him a big hug and called him dad. I was like, that's fun. I love that for the two of them.
Yeah, I was watching this. I was watching this documentary on YouTube. It was like a 45-minute thing about Knight Rider a while back, and David Hasselhoff had said that he never met William Daniels, the guy who does the voice for Kit. That he didn't meet him for the first time until the wrap party for season 1.
Right.
He was just like he was making the rounds, doing whatever, and he said he heard a voice kind of off to the side. He's like, "Wait a minute, is that kid?" He turned around. That was the first time he had actually met. Is the first time he had actually met him. That's something that happens quite a bit in voiceover stuff.
Oh yeah.
But Jeremy, I'm going to pose a little trivia question for you on this one. Sigourney Weaver has been in 5 sci-fi franchises.
I knew you were gonna fucking ask me that.
With being in this one, can you name the other 4? One of them I think is kind of cheating. one of them I think is kind of cheating. The other one I think is kind of not sci-fi, but whatever. I don't know. What do you think, Jeremy? Can you name the other 4?
I think the one that might be cheating is Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, I think it's not cheating. I just don't think it's sci-fi as much as it is kind of horror comedy.
It is kind of science fiction. I mean, you can't really make ghost catching stuff.
But to me, science fiction is space involved. I mean, you could say the tech maybe, but to me, it's more of a horror comedy than it is sci-fi. But yeah. I don't know. The other one is flat out cheating. That's the way I see things.
Okay, I was like, Ghostbusters is one. Alien.
One of them should be Alien. That's the stupid easy one. And one of the other ones might be stupid.
The other one's the stupid easy is Avatar.
Avatar, that's stupid easy.
I'm missing one more, right?
You are. And like I said, I think this is kind of cheating, but maybe it's kind of cheating. I don't know. I'm going to allow it because I like the movie. I like the movie, but whatever.
Well, don't be a dick and say Aliens and Aliens.
No. Like, franchise.
Okay. Fuck. Was it? Wait. No, that was Avatar. Fuck. Was it recent?
Fairly. Let me pull up the year, see if they give you
Avatar was fairly recent. That was 2009. You know. I'm gonna kick myself. I feel like it's one I know.
1999.
Oh goddamn! Fairly recent.
Well, I mean, it's not 80s or 70s. It's fairly recent. 27 years ago.
1999. Was it in space or was it not? Is that why it's cheating?
It was not. God, it kind of was. It wasn't until the end. Honestly, it's been a while since I've seen this movie. We should probably do this one. We've talked about it before.
All right. I'm
Ghostbusters
fucking
2016 is the most horrific movie I've ever seen. Yes.
It didn't exist.
You see, I think this is cheating. It's Galaxy Quest.
Okay.
I know, really, because the trivia says
it's
this movie
marks comedy, just like Ghostbusters, but
yeah, this movie marks for Sigourney Weaver her 5th sci-fi franchise where she appears. Previously started the sagas of Alien, Ghostbusters, Galaxy Quest, and Avatar.
Well, to be fair, though, you say franchise. There was only one movie the other ones had sequels and shit. So she was
technically speaking, it's a franchise, especially considering they want to make a sequel. Let's see. Right. So yeah, they actually go into space towards the end of the movie, but
that's
whatever.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Whatever. Like I said, I think it's kind of cheating, but whatever. We'll go with it. Let's see. You want to talk about a little bit of expanded universe stuff? Let's see. Rotta's status as a gladiator harkens back to Beldorian, a Hutt Dark Jedi in the Legends continuity, who fought Leia Organa Solo in a similar era, 13 years after the Battle of Yavin, which is that's kind of the difference between AC and B or AD or was AC and BC in our time of that expanded universe. Yeah. Of the expanded universe, and who similarly kept himself to a more muscular build in contrast to the more sedentary Hutts like his father Jabba.
Yeah, Battle of Yavin is kind of the midpoint. There's either before Battle of Yavin or after Battle of Yavin. That's kind of your. Even though canonically they want to make every damn thing has to have Order 66. Like, make Order 66 your fucking, because that seems to be the thing you keep harking back to. It's like, we know the Battle of Yavin was kind of the important thing, and that's what timeline. That's what we measure time by in Star Wars. It's before or after that battle, so whatever.
But Jeremy, I don't know if you saw it or not. I don't have a good picture of the. I'll have to go back to this because I have a good picture of the battle arena. But I don't know if you saw this or not. The fighting pit has the same floor as the holographic chessboard on the Millennium Falcon, and the creatures fighting recreate the chess moves from when R2-D2 played Chewbacca in that chess match in A New Hope in 1977.
I did not notice it initially, but I think I saw someone review it and pointed it out to me, and I was like, "Oh, holy crap! Now I see it. That is actually kind of cool."
I saw it. Especially the body slam when he picks up the one thing and body slams him. I was like, I feel like I've seen that, and then I kind of got a good look at the arena when they had one of the overhead shots. I was like, wait a minute, I'm kind of digging this right now. There's a little bit of a throwback to the original film that did it all. Mm-hmm. But Jeremy, we've said a lot about this movie. I'm sure we could probably say a lot more, but we'll save that for some other rant for when the next Star Wars movie comes out. Give me your final thoughts on Mandalorian and Grogu.
Middle of the road, middle of the galaxy. I don't know. I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it. So it's, you can watch it and there's not really too much consequence of, not understanding what's going on, because it's something that kind of happened seemingly separate kind of from the show. It's just another thing that they did. Like I said, the only thing to me, like I said, the takeaways that I had were, like I said, the Hutts dying, and then Rotta the Hutt becoming part of the New Republic. I'm like, that's kind of that's a little bit bigger deal to the universe, but not much else. I mean, if you want to watch a fun story of these two just doing what they do, which I was like, I like that they did kind of dial it back to, I'm like, yeah, I like when he was just going out catching bounties. Like, that's what he does. He's a bounty hunter. So now he just has this little green child he takes care of along the way. So if that's what you're after, I mean, yeah, that's what you're going to get. So like I said, I'm sorry that this was 90% the screw Disney for doing what they did rant, but for the movie, as I said, I just kind of am indifferent. It's just kind of in the middle of the road for me. So,
yeah, I'm with Jeremy. It was entertaining, but not good. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's just the way it is.
This is the way.
So many things that could have been done with this to make it awesome just weren't. It's disappointed in a lot of things about this movie. Happy with a lot of things. The visuals are certainly a lot of fun. I don't have any problem with the performances really, but it's not what I'd have done. To simply say, it's just not what I'd have done. I would have done something way different with this movie. It's a wasted opportunity. I mean, again, fun, not good, and it's just unfortunate. I don't understand why they made the decision they made to turn this into a movie when they really just should have gone back to a season of stuff, and really, because there's storylines and plot points in here that are actually really good, but you can't flesh all of that stuff out in a 90 or 100 minute movie, or however long this movie was, 20 minutes, whatever it was. You can't really flesh all this stuff out. Yeah, so you can't really enjoy it, but you can't tell the stories that need to be told. Like I said, you've got Sigourney Weaver, a Hall of Fame talent, one of the greats, and you don't really use her much. I mean, she's got good dialogue, but she's somebody who could really blow this character up and act the shit out of it, and you don't give her the opportunity. You don't grow Grogu's character at all. It's, yeah, Mandalorian's cool doing what Mandalorian does. Din Djarin is great, but there's not really any substance to this. It's a lot of action, some dialogue, enough dialogue to tell you that there's a point to everything he's doing, and that's about it. And to top it all off, it doesn't sit well with me that when the guy attacks him at his little chateau, that it's like Mandalorian is a guy that's supposed to put up a fight. I mean, he can take out 37 guards in one shot, but this one dude rolls in here with this big hat and basically just works him in like a minute and a half. I was like, come on, dude. Right. At least have that fight happen. Have a great fight scene right there. Mandalorian was just, I mean,
well, it did.
Din Djarin was just, oh yeah, but Din Djarin in that moment was just so overpowered. He even saw him coming. It wasn't like the guy got the drop on him. It's like he even saw the guy coming and was just not really effective in that moment.
I think maybe it was an emotional thing. I think the point was he was worried about Grogu, so he ran out there not really thinking about it, and he got stepped on that trap and got captured. I'm like, dude, I get it, but
yeah.
Also,
but,
I'm sorry. Also, when he got knocked out, I'm like, don't the Mandalorian helmets have ventilation so they don't, choke on fumes? So when he got knocked out in Rotta the Hutt cell,
that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I remember.
I was like, wait.
I remember Finn saying that the stormtrooper helmets are supposed to filter out stuff. I don't remember anything about the Mandalorian helmets, although it makes sense.
I think the Mando's helmets do it too.
That's what I thought, but whatever.
There was a whole episode where they're like, okay, we got to test the air on this planet to make sure I can actually come out here and breathe, because it was a different atmosphere. They didn't know what it was going to be when they went to go find, not the temple, he went with Bo-Katan because the helmet came off, so he was basically disgraced. So he had to go back down there and bathe in the fucking water again to be considered whole. And they're like, yeah, but the planet's been like poisoned. And that was a whole plot point. I was like, yeah, but he's like, yeah, but it's not going to completely filter everything out. I'm like, okay, fair enough. But when a little nerve gas and he gets knocked out, I'm like, all right, man.
But yeah, and it's a good movie. In all honesty, wait for this to hit Disney Plus. I mean, most Star Wars movies, I would go see them a couple of times in theaters just for the effect. But this was just not worth it. I mean, go see it once in theaters, because the space battles and stuff are worth it. The visuals, the movie itself, not so much. So I mean, I say go check out the visuals on the big screen, and then if you want to watch it again, wait for it to come out on Disney Plus. It's going to at some point in the next couple of months. Wait for it if you actually want to break it down scene by scene and actually pay attention to the details. Wait for it to come out. Hopefully they'll do better. Hopefully they have better plans for Star Wars in the future. I certainly hope so, because this is one of the franchises that made me a film fan. Yeah, I'd hate to see it kind of get pissed away because they just want to pour schlock out and just like get more people watching, sell more tickets, quick, get it out there. That's the Bob Chapek way of doing things. We all know how that affected Marvel. So let's not do that, okay? So Jeremy, where can the folks find you, my friend?
I'm here Tuesday and Thursday talking about whatever we're talking about. And boy, do we have a good one for you on Thursday.
I was trying to find a quick picture to put up, but the ones I kept, I kept downloading were not. I
could have kept vamping. Sorry.
I know I had downloaded a couple, but they aren't formatted right for me to put up here. So
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I didn't have one, but anyway. It's going to be one of Jeremy's all-time favorite movies, one of my all-time favorite movies, to be perfectly honest. The absolute classic from 1994, Shawshank Redemption. There's been a couple of movies I've just been holding on to. I'm like, I really want to wind up and really hammer this movie. And I was just like, it's time. It's time we do this. I hold off on a couple because I know there's some sequels coming and I want to try to do them all in a block. I've been holding off on doing the not so great 1987 movie He-Man because I knew He-Man, the new one was coming. We'll be doing those sometime in the next couple of weeks. But for now, Shawshank Redemption, baby. That's going to be one Jeremy runs. He's going to run that one. That's going to be Jeremy's, online wet dream right there. He's going to be breaking down the movie. I'll be here, obviously.
I should have done the thing. I'll bring in a rain machine just so I can do the Andy Dufresne at the end and just sit there like that.
You know what I might do? I might just make that the thumbnail. I'll just put your face, use some AI, put your face on Andy Dufresne's body.
Oh, don't do that.
That'd be kind of dope.
To compare me to Andy Dufresne would be an insult to Andy Dufresne. So,
but and I'm sure Jeremy has plenty of pictures. And I'm sure that Jeremy has plenty of pictures of his trip to the actual prison where they shot that he will probably put those up there and show them off for you. He's shown me many, many times. But yeah, we will be here doing that on Thursday. And then next week, probably a couple of retro reviews. And then I've got a couple scheduled. I don't have my schedule in front of me, but and then obviously He-Man the week after that. I'm looking forward to kind of breaking down the '87 He-Man. It's one of those movies that's so bad it's good. It's a lot of fun. Dolph Lundgren was actually on the red carpet for this new one. He, of course, played He-Man in the '87 version, but having fun with Nicholas Gallandine, I forget what his name is, who plays Adam and He-Man in this movie. It's kind of a nice little passing of the torch moment. But yeah, it's one of those movies that's so bad it's good. We're gonna have fun with it. But before we get to that, obviously Shawshank Redemption. Jeremy's gonna cream his jeans for about an hour and a half over that one. I'm just gonna let him because it's a movie we both love. We both have a lot of respect for, and we're gonna have a lot of fun talking about that one. So we will see you guys on Thursday for the Shawshank Redemption, and then this calendar is really opening up. There's a couple of horror movies coming out that we want to do. Some of the reviews for Back Rooms just came out. I've heard they're pretty good, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Another video game movie.
Yes, so we will see you guys on Thursday. Until next time, adios, or whatever he says in whatever the Hutts say. What's the word that he always uses? I forget.
Him or the Hutts? I don't even know.
The Hutts, when you walk up, so it's how they introduce themselves or something like that. When he walks up to Rhoda in the cell, what does he say to him in Huttese? I forget how it was pronounced. I was trying to remember it, but now I'm drawing a blank. I should have wrote that shit down. I failed. Sorry, Woody. I don't know. I'll probably lead with that the next one because it'll be so out of place. Bye, everybody.
Our Duolingo for Star Wars.
We're working on it. Yeah.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.